Welcome to Mobile Armor Radio, the podcast for all things Mecha. Jumpship incoming.
Don't know if you can hear me, but here we are, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Mobile Armor Radio, episode 63, and Pat might know what season that is.
Season 5, episode 3.
Oh, look at him knowing
Episode
math.
2.
He's on it.
3.
3. Episode 3.
60 would be, yeah. 3, 4.
But,
60, 61, 62, 63. It'd be 4.
61, 62, 3. Yeah, you're right.
Because 60, I would
4,
assume, would be
is
the
it?
beginning of 5, but who knows? Well, do you count half episodes in the seasons? Then it would be episode,
You don't.
7.
Half episodes are half. That's why they're called half. That's why they're 0.5.
That's why they're half episodes. But I'm going to be one of your hosts for the evening. My name is Brian.
I'm Chopper.
Nah, I'm Rob.
And yeah, so that's enough banter
Oh, jeez.
before we get...
Oh, dude. The abbreviated Brian Banter.
Anger
Yep,
banter.
the brief Brian banter.
Ooh, it's
The
alliterative.
triple B.
The
Yeah.
triple Bs. And we're done with the triple Bs. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's go right on into the dropship, and we're going to talk about things we're working on.
Yay.
Dropship landing.
And that's enough talk about serial killer podcasts.
Unlike you, I won't keep it in, though, Brian.
But so we are here in the dropship to talk about projects that we're working on. So if you're not familiar with the show, we like to do model kits, miniature gaming, and all sorts of stuff with that involves giant robots, especially if they're smaller versions of them. So I'm going to kick it off to Pat. You want to start us off?
We have a sponsor read, Brian. You never read the sponsor read.
Sponsor read. Join the madness of John Bear Ross. Visit patreon.com/John Bear Ross or search for John Bear Ross on Tribes at myminifactory.com. One full-size 28mm mech per month and more.
Yay.
There you go. We
Yep.
might as well talk.
Good guy.
We might as well talk about the mech that's coming out. It's coming out this next month. It's called Gigante.
Gigante?
Gigante. Is this the same as the wrestler?
It is very large. He has a video that I'm going to be showing right now. It is huge. You can see his other mechs around it, and I have no idea what it equates to. He's also got a what do they call it? Not a sponsorship, but a working with the one-page rules guys now. So this is compatible with one-page rules, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was doing that.
A joint venture.
Joint venture, that's the word. So, yeah, that's kind of cool. So, Gigante, he is quite large. I don't know if I could print him. I don't know if I could afford that much resin. But
Yeah, he looks like a big boy.
yeah,
I'll have to bust out my resin. I might have to start my printer back up again.
you don't use your. You have a what's it called? Not resin, the other one.
FDM?
FDM.
FDM?
Don't you?
I have one left that works, and ever since I started resin printing, I have become very, very adverse to bed leveling.
Yeah.
So that thing sits
Yeah.
it sits like a chess member of the chess group in high school waiting for a prom date.
You're waiting for someone to use him. The poor
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, you don't really use it anymore.
No, it doesn't. At first, it doesn't fit on the stand I have where I put all my printers, but
Yeah. Oh well.
I haven't
Anyways.
even used my resin printers in a while either. So, continuing with, I guess, the dropship on my end, I have not resin printed anything, as we just found out. I haven't used that thing in maybe 6 months. Just
Was your hand solo blaster the last thing you printed?
yes, the hand solo blaster
Oh.
was the last thing I printed.
Well, that was probably over a year ago then, because
Was it?
yeah, because I was there last year and helped you put it together.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I must
It's been a minute.
I better break that thing out.
It's all dusty now.
I mean, there's no reason for me not to be using it. I just,
You just don't get around.
well, I mean,
You've been busy.
No, that I've been busy. I guess the main reason though I don't print anything is because it's just increasing the pile of stuff that I have to paint.
Yeah, that is an issue.
I'm having a hard enough time getting this Neo Zhang done, which is a project that I want to finish, which is even worse.
Yeah.
So that being said, I did work a little bit on it prior to the flooding of my basement.
Yes, we talked about that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so things have now just gotten back to normal and a bit dry. I think what I'm going to do before I start doing everything is kind of not so much waterproof, but water protect my stuff in the basement.
Just keep it high.
Yeah, like I'm going to go to like Menards or Home Depot or something and buy some bricks and elevate everything.
Yeah.
Get up on blocks.
I'm going to get everything on blocks like I stole it.
You should. You got high ceilings. You should put a what do you call that? The floating floor or whatever. Put it up higher, so you have like if it does flood, it'll flood under the floor instead of on top of it.
Oh yeah, if we do that, we're going to that's going to come with the remodeling of the basement.
Yeah, so I mean, when you do,
we want to move the walls around down there. So if,
I want this wall over here and that wall over there.
well, you've seen that basement, Brian. It's pretty weird.
Yeah,
it's like a weird angles.
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
non-Euclidean.
But Sarah's already drafted what she wants it to look like. So
You go down the stairs and suddenly you're going up the stairs.
Right. It's very Escher.
It's very Hogwarts.
That's just talking paintings.
Yeah. So as far as things I've been working on, I worked on Nijang a little bit, but other than that, nothing.
You're a bad co-host.
I know. It's just hard for me. I mean, this last couple of months have been rough because it was just back-to-back shows, and then there was the flooding, and then there was Gen Con, and now I have a little bit of time off.
Yeah, winter is coming.
Well, there's
the Michigan GT.
The next, I got 2 shows left, and that's the Michigan GT and PAX Unplugged, but they're far and few between, and they're not huge shows.
Yeah, they're only weekends instead of whole weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's it for me.
Good for you.
All right.
We talked more about what I didn't do than what I did do.
How about you, Rob? What do you got?
I did lots of stuff because I have a lot of 3D printing. I also I primed some stuff, but I'm not going to talk about that until I actually paint it, which will be never. But first thing I did, I printed up from Extra Guy. He did a bunch of hover tank things from Masters, Robotech Masters. So I did some small scale ones, which they're slightly bigger than Battletech, I would say, but pretty close. And he did all 3 modes of the hover tank. And then I also did a large version of the hover tank in mech mode. And I also printed up Dana Sterling. I did a little statue, 100mm statue of Dana in her armor. It's very cool. Nice. Pretty cool stuff.
They're not nice.
Yeah, they like I have to clean it up a bit, obviously, but it's right out of the print. It looks pretty nice. It's pretty neat that you can just print up statues. That's back in the day, having a anime statue was pretty hard to get, or they were expensive. Now you just print and mattering on the size of your printer, you could scale it up as big as you want to. You could do that's another thing I printed. Speaking of, another guy called Mini Volks on Colts 3D does a lot of free Macross stuff, and he did this is a VF3000 head bust.
Wow!
So it's quite big. It's about the size of a baseball, I would say. So it's gonna be. I have a little stand that
it's
goes
as
on.
big as your head, Rob.
Look at I'm wearing a VF 3000, but it's a neat little thing. So he does like all the plane modes of like almost every Macross stuff, and I think he does some of the robot modes. And he has SDF and a lot of the big ships. So if you're ever looking for a like some kind of space combat game, you need ships, you go to this guy. I'll have the link in the show notes for him, but it's all free. It's pretty cool. So
Nice.
yeah, that's pretty neat. So I do a lot of 3D printing of that kind of stuff. I'll talk about what I got at Gen Con in the ComStar, but some of that's
Sure.
future projects. But that's pretty much what I have done so far this month. How about you, Brian?
Nice. Well, a big part of this month for me was kind of getting my 3D printer back on track. I'd been having a lot of extrusion issues where I'd gotten one of the new metal, like all metal extruders, and it was just chewing through filament, and there was nothing I could do to like remove the tension for it.
Mm.
So it was kind of a mess. And then it just so happened Rick was replacing his old FDM printer to get new ones off of somebody.
Because he's got 1,000 of them.
Yeah, he knows people to trade and barter with.
Yeah, did he
great.
trade like some army, like 40K army? Or
Yeah,
something
I
for
think it was
something?
like Sisters of
He's
Battle or
like,
something.
who was that? Who was the James Gardner from? This is no one's gonna know this. So you know I'm saying it.
We're not on Dragon's Tome where you can talk about really old stuff.
I was gonna say like James Gardner from The Great Escape, but there's people. What The Great Escape? What was that?
Isn't that with
I know that
The
movie.
Rock? Have they
No.
done, they
No.
haven't done a remake yet, have they?
The Great Escape is an
Not yet.
old movie with Steve McQueen,
Steve McQueen,
It's a true story.
James Garner.
James Gardner, the guy that's the president in Escape from New York. His name is
Yeah.
escaping me. Loomis from Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Um,
he's in it. He's super young
Yep.
in that one.
yeah.
But he plays like a guy who can get anything in
Yeah.
the World War II camp.
Yeah.
So
So similarly, Rick happened to have a dual gear extruder,
Mm.
and I put that thing on, and it's been just singing right along. So with that, I sent you guys pictures earlier. Is I printed off a spaceship. It's about yay big, all things told. Like it's almost a foot long, I think, and
It is big.
Good.
I'm showing pictures
and
now. Well, who is
and
texting us?
that's Pat. So I got it from Corvus Games Train as a light frigate, I think is what it's called, and it's really nice. It comes in 3 parts, and they use the little clippies. Open lock, I think, is the system.
Yeah.
And clips together the little, like it has some extra like compartments and storage crates that you can clip on and off and everything like that. No, it turned out really nice, and I'm excited to slap some paint on that. I might do some designs so that it has kind of set up lines to help with dead zone. Lining up the cubes and everything like that, because it is just a little over 3 inches high, so it's perfect for a 1-up elevation. So it'd be fun to slap that down as like in the middle of a starport, and because I play that game a lot.
Yeah. And if you do it like subtly, where it's like panel linings almost, you can still make it so you can see the cubes, but you can.
Or just like striping on the ship kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's a really nice set. It's fairly durable, even though I think I printed it. I think I did like a 0.3 for the line height, so that there are some parts that kind of feel just a little weaker. So it's probably not something like the Tycho Starport little terrain blocks that I printed, and I can practically just throw those things around.
Yeah.
No, it's a really nice set, and I'm probably going to see if I can get that painted up for the Michigan GT and have that as a little centerpiece for some of the games.
A head table or something. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. But otherwise, yeah, the 3D printing has kind of been the big one for me. Been trying to do a little bit of painting here and there. I'm trying to remember if I talked last time. I had gotten myself. I did start experimenting with some speed paints, yeah, and stuff like that. It's been working well. And I did finish up my little Asterians set out of the Dead Zone 2-player starter set. So I kind of have that force, but I do have a Spectra already to get put together and start getting more of the mechanized units ready to go for Dead Zone and even Firefight, which Firefight from Mantic Games now has.
That's a Spectra without the shield. The shield is not one, but that's a Spectra.
And then, like as of this recording, the new Command Protocols book is coming out, which has a mechanized centric way to play, which is kind of neat. So rather than having a whole bunch of troops that have supported by like tanks and gunships and stuff like that, you actually build from kind of the gunships, the tanks, like an armored column moving through mechs. Yeah. So I'm really excited to get more of those vehicles on the board and play some more of these games. So that's been kind of on my docket so far. But I think with that, I think we're ready to move on to the ComStar.
Boom.
Boom.
Message from ComStar.
And welcome to the ComStar. This is the section of the show where we talk about TVs, movies, books, comics, RPGs, video games, conventions, as it were, because you guys got to go to Gen Con.
Small little we did.
And so, would you guys just like to double team a Gen Con update first?
Sure. Go ahead, Rob.
Well, it was fun. It was busy, and we were very tired. I did buy a bunch of stuff. As you can see on the screen, I did buy some Battletech stuff and a lot of Iron Wind minis. We always trade with those guys, so I got a bunch of vehicles, which was nice. And I did get to go to Target, and I got a Essentials box set. I think it's here, yeah. I also got all the Babylon 5 stuff, but I ordered that from what's the place called? Noble Knight Games.
Noble Knight.
I sent it to Pat because shipping to Canada is insane. But yeah, Essentials box set at Target. Going into Target and seeing an end cap full of Battletech was like, wow, this is cool. Like that was neat to see. To see it actually in a huge store like and it was relatively near the front too. So it was. Yeah. I hope it's selling to not just a bunch of grognards buying them all up for their collections, and hopefully it's selling to new kids and stuff getting into it, and
like us who bought them.
Yeah.
But that being said,
it's on my shelf. I'm not opening it.
That being said, we only just bought it. We only bought one. We didn't buy 17.
No, yeah, that's right. We didn't buy.
Right.
Yeah, but still, it's hopefully it's getting into the hands of new gamers. That's what I'm hoping. But as for Gen Con, I don't know. Anything else, Pat? We didn't really get to see much. It was so busy
I mean we went to the cabinet booth, of course, and we looked to see what was new for Battletech and stuff. So we picked up 2 sets. I don't even remember what they were.
Proliferation Cycle, which is the original battle mechs in the world. So it's kind of like antiques, which is kind of fun. And also I got Snords Irregulars. Did you get that one too?
Whatever 2 boxes that you gave me, I had you pick.
The Snords one is
because I was looking at the Shadowrun stuff. I go, get me whatever's new mini wise.
Yeah, the Snords Irregular one was cool because it has a Franken mech in it where it's a. Do I have him here? I think I have him here somewhere. Anyways, he's in the box full of stuff I primed, but he's like one arm is an archer, I think it's a Warhammer, and then its head is a Valkyrie, Phoenix Hawk. Like it's. Then you can do different configurations, mattering which one you're doing. Like it's pretty fun. So, and he's all wacky colors, I guess. So it'll be fun to paint that guy. Yeah, but
I didn't get any books though. You got the books.
Yeah, I got the new books I was missing. Yep. Yeah, I'm trying to.
Mech wise, what else did we get? You traded with Iron Wind. I did not.
Yeah,
I have enough metal sitting around from past Gen Cons that I made a conscious effort not to pick any more up this time.
Well, that's why I always get vehicles. Last year it was aerospace. This year it was vehicles. So, and I got there was a couple new mechs that they just came out with, so I got those.
Yeah. What else? Oh, the Scythe sequel.
Oh yeah.
Expeditions. It's all about moving your mechs around, and it's kind of a deck builder game. But you use your mech. You move your steampunkish mech around. If you ever played Scythe or seen the artwork, who does that kind of artwork?
Some Swedish guy. or Norwegian.
Yeah.
Yes,
Scandinavian.
that 1920s look, but steampunkish.
Well, it's like rural settings with like workers in fields, and then there's a giant mech in the background, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the Iron Harvest game is based on it too.
Yeah.
If you've seen Samurai 7, the anime, similar style.
Yeah, so I haven't had a chance to play the game. I did.
You did get
take some-
upsold. You got upsold to the special edition that has the giant metal minis in it.
Yeah, so I mean, I always get upsold. I mean, who are we fooling? I mean, I got upsold for the games that my wife wanted, and I was just going to get the core game, and then I got upsold for those damn things too. What I need. But I haven't actually got a chance.
It's the easiest to sell to a sales guy.
So I read how to play the game, and I did get the metal minis, but they're not super heavy because the game is not.
The game was heavy. The game is giant because it's all cardboard and minis and cards. It's quite heavy.
So anything else? Oh, and then we did look at some other things like Robotech Restoration, which later on this month we will be talking to the creators of that.
We already did.
Did we put that out?
Yeah, that was like last month. You're really behind the times.
I didn't see it come out. I only saw the other one.
It's called 62.5. The other one isn't out yet.
Well, in this
oh no, you're right. We did that
future past tense where we recorded an episode prior,
but
wasn't sure about the release schedule.
We did talk to the guys. I'm sorry, I'm one ahead of myself.
Yeah,
we did talk to the guys.
We have another episode coming up within a week talking about Battletech modding, which will be the next one. That'll be 63.5.
Yeah, my bad. You're right. We did.
We recorded a lot of content for you guys. I say we, but I'm not on.
Dr.
Wicks.
Are the guys that created the Robotech Restoration, and it's a pretty fun game. Had I known,
I think it's on sale right now too. On the
it was ready at Gen Con. I wouldn't have bought it afterwards, but
yeah, it's on sale right now on the Strange Machine Games website. If you want to go check that out too.
Yeah, check it out. If you like Robotech, you like the Attack on the SDF-1.
Well, this is what they call it, a coin, COIN system. Like that's like a type of game, like a we'd say a 4X or stuff. Coin is a type of game.
Yeah,
and that's what this is. It's really interesting. Watch that show. We talk all about it. So it sounds fun. It's cool games.
Yeah. But as far as Gen Con, I think that's about it. I mean, I'm trying to think of anything else we looked at.
I don't think so. It wasn't last year. I found there was a lot more mech kind of stuff, but this year was either it was so busy this year because it was sold out every single day. Like all 4 days were sold. All
passes were sold out.
Yeah.
Even the single day ones.
Yeah.
So it was
so
much
busy.
busier than that. We didn't. Yeah.
I didn't get much to walk around. Like we walked around one time, I think, and that was early on. And yeah.
I know that Disney card game really drew a lot of attention and they had places packed
and trampled someone.
Yeah, there's people trampled and people sleeping in the aisles to get this stupid card game that will be available to everyone within a week. So I have no idea.
It's available now.
Yeah.
Yeah, my game shop down the street has it.
Yeah. So why are you people? You're nuts. And then there was a big heist of $300,000 worth of Magic the Gathering cards too, by a couple of idiots who were caught on camera wearing their shirts from the game they made. Pretty easy to catch them.
And they also look straight into the camera.
Yeah, it was bad. Not the genius heist. It's not a George Clooney-esque heist, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Misunderstood what the stealth mechanic, how that works in the real world.
I guess they thought they were just so brazen nobody would notice, but people noticed. They also might not known how much they stole. Like they're probably like, we got a skid. That's funny, haha. Meanwhile, it's like $300,000 worth of stuff they stole because it was all Magic the Gathering cards.
They had to know how much that is. I mean, that skid that's a whole pouch with the cards.
Yeah,
it's all land.
It's all land, yeah.
It's all land, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so Rob, did you want to kind of pick up from there about some of the other announcements?
Well, Armored Core 6 is out. Has anybody played it yet?
I have not.
I have not, but I heard it's bananas.
I heard it's the tutorial takes like 10 hours to beat. I'm like, I don't want to play this game.
It sounds like it's picked up more from what From Software has kind of become,
Souls, yeah.
which is the Souls-like games, but now with a mecha twist. I've heard the first kind of boss you encounter, they're calling it the Rubicopter because it weeds people out. It's like the weak will not get past this point. Which on
that's
the
the
one
point
hand,
of those games, but
it's kind of the point, and more power to them. At the same time, it would be kind of nice for people that want to just kind of casually play those games. But again, there's something to be said about kind of that artistic vision of, the game is meant to be played
to
like
crush
it's
your
gonna
soul.
try to kill you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But people seem to be really, like, apart from that, like the people that aren't having a great time because of the difficulty, everyone else that is in tune with
But
that
even
kind
the
of
people that I saw
love
talking about how hard it is were saying, I still love the game. I'm like they were like, I'm stuck on this guy for like 10 hours. I love this game. It's like, no, that sounds terrible to me. I'm not that kind of player, I guess.
Yeah, I'll have to see, because like I've tried like a couple of those games, and just the way I play games these days is more of kind of, I'm doing it just
Relaxed.
casually. Yeah, I'm doing it to relax. I usually only have a small window of time to play them, and so it's just like I just want something to chill while I do, and so I'll probably still pick up the game because I love Armored Core, but we'll see if I get very far.
Yeah.
So I don't think they even have like a easy difficulty. That's not their way. So
not yet.
Well, the very first Armored Core was rough and hard to play.
Yeah, that's true.
All the way up to Armored Core 3, which is where I kind of
three seemed to hit a good.
I pulled back a little bit on Armored Core around that time.
Yeah.
But not my game. But anyways, there's also, I read a comic book, but it's also a Netflix show. Back in the day, I did read Mech Cadet U, which is this new Mech Cadets TV show on Netflix is based on.
Okay.
And there's a new comic book that is kind of a sequel to Mech Cadet U. So it's called Mech Cadets to tie in with a new show. So it's all about, as it is, it's all about kids piloting giant robots to stop an alien invasion. And the one kid is like he's just a janitor's son, and he gets caught up in stuff and ends up with you kind of get bonded to these mechs. They're kind of aliens, kind of, and he gets bonded to one of these mechs and has to join the Mech Cadets. So, and he's kind of an outsider, but they learn to work together, as always these kind of shows are. I guess the cartoon and the comic book is very for younger kids, but it's still fun. I haven't watched a cartoon yet, but I'm showing the trailer as we speak. But
it's always nice to have those options to get newer generations into.
Yeah.
Mechs.
Yep. So hopefully, it's hooks some people. The comic books are fun. I enjoyed them. But another thing that's happened that'll be interest to Pat is that Cav is rebranded to Cav Strike Operations Armored Might.
Yes, it has.
There's a new Cav, and they've totally rebooted the universe. So no more aliens.
People say the Rock are gone, but they're really not. They're just.
Well, it says in the show notes the Rock are gone.
They are gone.
But if you talk with Mr. Walker, he says they're not gone. They're just
missing,
unknown.
Yeah, they're not a faction anymore in the game yet. So because he said they didn't really fit into the humans. They were so alien that they don't really fit. So. But interesting. He did the Armored Might thing because he said that for like CEO for search engines, it's much easier to search for Armored Might than it is for Cav, because Cav, things like the Cleveland Cavaliers and things like that really screw up any kind of searching. So Armored Might is the way to search for Cav now. So it's a new era for Cav, which is fun. We'll have to pick up the new rules when we see him next. Maybe a Adepticon.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to switch my faction now.
I always like they like Dark Elf kind of guys. I forget their names, but they're always my favorite. But who knows what they're like now? I have to read all the descriptions again. I have to learn the game again. The actual gameplay, I think, it's updated, but it's the same game, you know.
Yeah, I think they're putting all the facts and all the
of course
updated stuff into the new book. So,
last thing I did was watch the new Tex Talks Battletech. He did the Hunchback. It's available on the YouTube's 2-hour-long dissertation on the Hunchback. And it's, as always, pretty fun and funny. And it's an in-world class, which is always fun for Tex Talks. If you're into Battletech, it's good. And it's still enjoyable to watch. But it is very long. So for the uninitiated, it takes a long time to watch it. But fun stuff. It's like watching a movie. Nice. They only put them out like once a year. So enjoy it while it's out. So
right.
I think that covers everything I've done for ComStar. I don't think there's anything else.
All right.
I am reading a new Battletech novel in the it's in the Dark Ages, and there were some really good political ones in the middle. Now I'm reading one that's just really bad. It's already got like a serial killer in it, and people are acting all tough, and it's like,
are they killing podcasters?
No, not quite, but it's very cheesy. But the other ones were good. It's up to here, so maybe this is just one speed bump. It started off bad. It got pretty good. Now it's bad again. So, as much as people give crap to the Dark Age, some of them are not bad. So, but
nice.
Yeah, that's all I've done.
Yeah. Pat, did you have any extra ComStar?
my mic or my earphones were messed up. What happened?
I was just kind of passing it back to you if you had any more ComStar you wanted to add.
I don't know why my headphone was all messed up for a second. No, I don't have anything else. I just Gen Call. I didn't watch anything.
Oh well.
I've been in decompression mode after Gen Con.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, to be honest, I was ill for a couple days after Gen Con, and then I had to decompress.
Yeah.
It is a petri dish of con crud. So,
well, the con crud's back, man. It's where everyone's out in mass again. So,
yeah. When we were forced to wear masks, I never got sick though. So, knock on wood.
Yeah, I mean mostly Rob talked about everything else that I was into it. So
sure. All right. Well, I did not go to Gen Con, so I couldn't contribute to that. But I did also find, kind of speaking of new shows like Mech Cadets, there's a new one that I stumbled upon called SYNDUALITY Noir, which is this new mech anime. It's this kind of weird thing where I stumbled on it when someone was like, a lot of people are saying Witch from Mercury is a great stepping on point for like mechs and Gundam is a great stepping on point for mechs. And they're like, but this show actually is a different kind of intro that the more casual person looking to get into mech anime might enjoy. So I checked out the trailer and it seemed like it was kind of fun. So
is it on Netflix or what's it on?
Let's see. I think where did
Prime.
I see it was like Disney Prime, but that was like Disney Prime Singapore. I think is where I got the link from. Well,
if you'll have to send me the name, I'll see if I can put a link in the show notes for
I did post
not
it.
Crazy version of it that you.
Yeah. Yeah, Disney Plus Singapore was where the trailer is from. So we'll figure out where that is. But SYNDUALITY.
Did you put? Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah. Disney Plus Singapore. That's crazy. Maybe it's on Disney Plus.
It might be Disney Plus. Otherwise, I was thinking maybe it was a Netflix show or like an Amazon Prime.
You never know what Singapore
you never know.
Putting out. Yeah. Oh well, you have to check that out.
Yeah. And then I've actually been still continuing to play through Horizon Forbidden West, unlocking more giant mech dinosaurs to try and kill as they kill me because I've come in and out of that game so infrequently. It's like, how do I play again? And then I'm dead.
Yeah.
But it's moving along. I'm starting to do more of the story stuff. It's a big sandbox game, so I usually get to a point in those kind of games where it's like, okay, normally I'm exploring, I'm getting every side quest and objective and everything, and then I'm like, okay, I need to keep this story rolling here. So moving that one along, and then because the Ahsoka series just is coming out, I've been rewatching Rebels with my wife, so because she wants to watch Ahsoka but never watched most of that other Star Wars content, so getting her caught up for that.
You just like it because it's called Rebels.
I mean, I won't deny it. Another potential topic for later: favorite rebel organizations. And then yeah, I kind of hinted at it in the in the earlier in the show where we Mantic Games is putting out a new version of Firefight, which is I'm really excited to get my hands on that book and start playing around with some like full-on 08th MS team.
Yeah, you finally can do your stuff. Yeah,
I can do it. 3 Striders.
Your legal lists will finally be legal.
Yep. So now I just need to build some more Striders, I guess. That's what I'm hearing is I just need to build more of these things.
Yeah.
So really looking forward to doing that actually. And then Mantic also proposed. They actually kind of put it out to the community to give them feedback on that they were going to be kind of renewing the Warpath game, but doing it as you call it epic style, right? Where it's very tiny minis, like old Epic 40K, right? Where your troops were, what is that like?
They were really small. It's not gonna be that small. I think
4 millimeters.
Yeah,
tall
I think
like
I think they're shooting at like 6 to 8 millimeters for Warpath, which is good. When you get like a Strider that's the size of a normal mini, that's the cute range right there.
It is a cute little Strider, isn't it? The little picture that they had of it.
I have some printed up
But,
here, so we tested it out a while ago, but I don't know where
nice.
they are. It's pretty amazing, and like the big planes and stuff at that scale, it's pretty cool. Like,
no, I bet.
Yeah.
And so the big thing, like a big part of the story there was they kind of put it out to the community. There had been whispers that some competition might be showing up again at that same scale. So it might be a very full game space to enter back into.
Wow, for 6 months until GW stops supporting it, and then it just goes away again.
Yeah. So they did a lot of community outreach and feedback and collect. Do they want to make this as do we release the game at all? They gave out kind of a draft of the rules for free for people to check it out so they could kind of see for themselves if it would be something they'd be interested in, which is pretty neat. And then also that do they make this a 3D printed game? Where they provide digital files for the minis, and then people that are doing 3D printing kind of are the ones that play it, or you buy from them. So I believe from what I've heard, and you guys might even know more. It sounds like the feedback has been a yes. People do want to play the game, and so I think they're still figuring out exactly what's release model that they want to go with.
Wow. I don't think Ronnie does anything by half measures, so I'm feeling if they do it at all, it's going to be big. Like they'll do a lot. So
yeah, it'll be big, tiny things.
All I know is we need a hookup so we can get some review copies on this show. If it's all mech based combat.
If only we knew somebody.
If only we knew somebody who might be able to help us.
Yeah. We'll have to email somebody.
Yep. I'm gonna email somebody.
But I'm excited for that. Like I've never played at that scale or painted a mini at that size, so I don't know how well I'd handle that because I'm kind of 28 millimeter or bust.
It's actually you have to set your expectations low, and you're not going to be painting as much detail.
Oh yeah,
Right.
just kind of. I liked painting when I had Flames of War. It was fun painting those little guys because it was just like you got so many done because you're just like okay, base colors and then you just throw some wash on them and yeah.
Yeah, wash or dry brush real quick.
You hope that the sculpt is good enough to keep the wash on there and the dry brush to do the highlights and give a little details to it, but otherwise they're so small. But yeah, I was joking that about 3D printing. You never 3D print stuff that small, but our friend, was it John Jack, who printed something? He was trying to print some stuff for his Armada ships, and I was like, you'd never be able to get that scale. They're like the size of like pins.
Printed little crewmen to sit on his boats.
and he actually got. I was like, wow, he got it to scale down. So you can print real detailed stuff. I'd be afraid to lose it, but yeah, he exceeded my expectations about the scales you can do. So we might even see, Z's in 6mm scale.
Wow.
That'd be pretty small.
They would be like a millimeter tall. Just a little bump on the.
Right. That's what he's saying. The Napoleonics use like pins. Like they just use pin heads.
Yeah.
So.
But so neat things are ahead from that, and at that scale you really can do some pretty like suddenly like you have the ability to say, hey, what if we had, so what's a bigger way of striding, like a stomper?
I can see
some gigantic.
The dwarves building something big. I could see the Forge Fathers doing some big stuff, big mechs.
Yeah. So we'll see how it all shakes out. I'm excited for it. Yeah. But with that, I think we're all set to hop on over to the MechBay Hanger and talk about our main topic for the week. Month.
MechBay Hanger.
Excellent.
Now entering the MechBay Hanger.
Welcome to the MechBay Hanger. This is the part of the show where we kind of have a monthly roundtable topic. And for this month, I decided to was kind of, as we get terrain prepped for tournaments and events and stuff like that, it had sparked in my mind. It's like different kinds of terrain setups and different kind of battlefields. There's always, it's always kind of the third player in any kind of game that you're playing against somebody. And so, I thought, that'd be kind of a neat topic to talk about. So like, as far as in relation to giant mech games like Battletech or, games that are kind of mech adjacent like Dead Zone or Firefight, like, what's people's kind of favorite style of kind of battlefield and what kind of terrain they like to play on. And I thought, I might start off like for me, especially something like Dead Zone, which is on an 8x8 grid and very three-dimensional. And so like for me, I really love the like very tight like cityscape, right? That it's buildings that are pretty much butted up against each other. There's gateways and walkways and restaurants and all sorts of stuff that looks like a lived-in space that suddenly has been kind of thrust into this conflict. So that's kind of the first one for me, just that kind of setting and really kind of in that way it kind of tells a story about the space that you're fighting in and having some fun. So, and then I'll kick it over to Rob. You had a bit of a list.
Well, my first one is one that there isn't many mech games in this environment. There's a lot of spaceship games, but it's space. We need a mech game that's like Gundam in space. Like it's so integral in like Gundam, but we just don't have a game like that. Like Interceptor, Pat and I've played, is really fun, and you probably could modify it easy enough to make it Gundam based. But there's a lot of space combat games that we've been trying out, but actual mechs in space is a thing that I'd like to try that isn't really around. So,
maybe we'll mess around with it because we have a new set of rules that we just picked up.
We always find new rules.
That Gunframe game I had talked about in one of our previous episodes actually had specific rules for doing space combat, which was kind of like you're saying, it was like, oh, we don't get to see that very often.
That was a skirmish game too.
Yeah, that was a skirmish game.
Like obviously all the role playing games have rules for it, but it's to actually have a miniature skirmish game in space is rare. So yeah, I have to check that out also. So that's it. Yeah. We need space games because I want to run
more space games.
I want to run a Gundam into a giant asteroid.
Well, the thing would have to, do you make it a 3D? Because if you're going to be in space, you need do you need an X? Do you need to do an XY axis?
Or I would probably do like different size, different height flight bases maybe. So you could do it within reason.
That would be that would be my XY axis.
Yeah, because it would be too hard to do true 3D. Like how would you without anti-gravity? How would you actually do that? So
underwater, I'll set this thing up here and it'll float, right?
We'll just dress our fish like mechs and have them fight.
Sharks with laser beams on their heads.
It always comes back to sharks with laser beams.
Yeah. Cool. How about you, Pat? What's kind of your first pick for like a favorite battlefield?
Well, it's a cityscape. I enjoy a cityscape, but your example was
it's kind of claustrophobic.
Because you've limited yourself. But most battle games don't play on a 2x2.
Right.
They're on a 4x4 or 6x4. So when we talk tabletop terrain for Mega, I think large scale table, and that's where I feel like a cityscape really comes in, because now we're talking multiple buildings, multiple heights. We're talking
almost like was it Drop Zone or Drop Fleet? One of those ones. Drop Zone, I think it is, right?
Yeah, Drop Zone. You can do it. We did those buildings for Drop Zone Commander work very well for Battletech.
They're cardboard, I think, weren't they? Like foldable.
Yeah, I have like Tupperware. Not Tupperware. What do you want to call those things?
That's trademark.
Little plastic containers,
little bins, just bins and bins of them.
Yeah.
And that's what I use. I use it for Cav. I use it for Battletech almost exclusively, and it's in my 6x4 playmat is a city, so it's got roads on it, and places where you can put the building, so you can set up like a true city. And it works well with Battletech because jump jets, you could jump from building to building like you could in game, and you make alleyways and you make streets, and so you have like
kill zones.
Two kill zones. You can you can perch, things like that.
You have open spaces. You get a little park area that you can.
You include open space. So there's just I think iconically for me, the cityscape is best for. For mech battles in general,
and two, like it's it from a mechanic standpoint, it kind of gives you the best of all the worlds, right? You have the level terrain, where you have like you're saying, like lanes of fire and things like that, but you have plenty of cover from the buildings.
And unless you are playing in London. Your streets are you're playing on an almost a grid-like pattern.
Yeah. That'd be a lot. Actually, playing in London, that would be actually awesome because it is so. There's some parts that are. Yeah.
It's cow trails is what it is. The roads are just cow trails paved over.
Pretty much.
Right. Like Janesville, Wisconsin.
Yeah. So, or you can even do a DC version where the streets are. Radiate from the center of the capital as a spoke.
Or Chicago too, with all the underground parts in Chicago too, with like the underpasses and stuff.
You definitely need a multi-layer table for that.
And does Chicago have an L train? Yeah. So that would be a fun thing to have in there too.
We'd have to get what is it? The H scale? No, O scale.
I don't remember which, I don't remember.
I think it's O.
Well, we wouldn't want 28. You want if you're playing Battletech, you want even small. I think is it Battletech HO maybe? Smaller. I can't remember which one's the small ones.
Yeah. You're right.
I don't remember. I think HO might be 28, and I think N.
HO is 28. Yes, HO is 28, and I don't remember what the smaller version.
I think N is the small one.
But you could definitely set that up.
Yeah.
But that for tabletop bench
It's all
gaming,
about space though at that point.
Yeah, well,
that's the beauty of the cardboard stuff is that you just fold it up and put it away. Like tables like that, it's hard.
I stack them inside each other.
Yeah, where having as a kid, I had a permanent like fantasy table, but it was big and there's not much space for it. You're like, where are you gonna put that?
Yeah. Cool. And it is kind of fun to talk. Like mine, I guess mine was more like a city block, right?
Yeah,
whereas yours is more of like the city.
Or even Dead Zone's really like I'd say it's like a settlement, so almost like Hadley's Hope in Aliens, where it's just kind of like a small little area. They're doing it more now, built up cities in Dead Zone, but the original concept was more like a spaceport almost.
Like a big frontier kind of space. Yeah. So I would say my next one is one that I'm also actually trying to come up with a way to bring it into Dead Zone, is a like a forest themed one, and it's that interesting thing where like thinking of like big trees, right, that you can actually go up into, as opposed to maybe like the Battletech scale where it's like a tree is like to its knee or something like that, or to its hip.
More like
I'm talking
Ewok
like
Village.
Yeah, like if you're on Kashyyyk and you've got your walkers and they really, they just barely go up above the roots.
Yeah, you can have like walkways above their heads and stuff, and
Exactly. Like I think that's, not only is the forest kind of a really kind of unique space to be doing more kind of, like an 08th MS team, like it's Gundam Vietnam, right? It's taking mechs into a space they're really not designed for, and either making the environment fit them or having to adapt to how the environment is set up, which I think is a pretty neat space to have battles in.
It's just so difficult for trees because playability is hard with trees, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you just you just have the trunks and not do the canopy.
Yeah, the easiest way would be to do the trunks and not the canopy.
Yeah,
that always looks funny to me, but I guess you could just imagine. But playability is always the hard part.
The problem with the canopy, then you wouldn't be able to reach your mechs.
Yeah,
or your figures.
It was really hard.
It would look great, but it would be hard to play on, I would think.
Yeah, that would be more of like a big showcase, like like the big the actual like Warhammer 40K size minis, and then they have their Titan class warlord class Titan standing by, and it's like, well, that thing's not actually moving.
Yeah, it's unplayable in the game, but it's just there. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, forests it's always a good idea, especially with sci-fi. It's fun to combine them, obviously, with, like I said, Avatar and things. It's kind of popular now, but I think of 08th MS Team or Votoms. It's the picture.
Votoms did a lot in the jungle.
That was the best. Like, they had 3 sections. It was like, first one was city, second one was jungle, and then the third one was desert. So the jungle one was my favorite part of Votoms. So cool.
What was your next one, Rob?
Mine is pretty basic, but it's just hills, but multi-leveled, tiered, so not rolling hills. Like especially your Battletech, you don't want rolling hills. Your mechs will fall over constantly, and it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But they actually have tiered, almost Heroescape kind of hills. Like, too bad nobody
stepped hills.
Yeah. Like, Heroescape was obviously, it was popular for the terrain, and then now the terrain is really hard to get because after the game died, everybody bought the terrain up because it was so perfect for many different things, but it was all modular. But I wish somebody would either do like a 3D printing version, which I think some people have, but
there's plenty I think I've stumbled across.
But actually modular, like I've seen a lot where it's like you buy them and it's a set hill or whatever, but it would be neat to just get the little modular parts to build your own. But yeah, that for Battletech works, like it's all based on flat maps, the actual Battletech, but to actually play it on a 3D hilly terrain with like rivers and stuff running through it, which I think that it looks so much better than just playing on the flat maps. Like instead of doing like tactical scale kind of, you're actually playing it. Like I think that would be fun. And you could do like actual heights or the right height instead of just having to read the coordinates and stuff. That's always a problem with Battletech maps. It's a lot of numbers, and you're just like, you don't get immersed. You're more living on the higher scale, kind of looking down on this.
The Excel spreadsheet of it all.
Yeah. I like the immersion of actual Battletech mech combat. So, yeah, I think multi-level tiered hills or any terrain in general, but Heroscape type terrain. Yeah. That'd be fun. Once again, easy to put away.
Yeah, that's true. Throw it in a bin.
Yep, exactly.
What's next for you, Pat?
Forests. I do have a set of forests that I don't use them as much as I do my city, because I just really enjoy the city. But I do like the multi-tiered hills, but then I also like to accentuate those with trees. So you can post up on top of a hill if you need to. Oh, if you're playing with infantry in Cav, you can post up your mortar teams or your other long-range weapon teams up in there.
So you're thinking more of the mech scale where it's just a forest crop of trees that you put your guys in, or like Brian was saying, actual trees on the battlefield?
Oh yeah, it's
or like
forest,
a little forest space.
Yeah, exactly. Forest space teams.
That's fun to actually add for Battletech, especially, is to have that, because it really affects the game. And when you set it on fire,
and while I do love setting up the kill zones in Cityscape, it's harder to do in a randomized forest hill layout. And
when you're chasing like a late mech and he runs into a forest, it's fun. Like
exactly,
it adds an extra little bit of challenge.
But believe it or not, though, I feel like I like Cav a little bit better in the forest scenes because I do like to drop my troops in near forests and have them move forward and post up in the forest, especially when it's the heavy mortar teams.
Yeah, do they have good rules for that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's neat.
Well, I mean, we'll see now. I mean, we'll see what Armored Mike brings us, but
I'm sure that kind of stuff won't change.
No, I don't either. But
it is kind of fascinating to me that like a lot of the game stores that I frequent these days, like so few of them have trees, like little forest units. I don't know if the big games have just done away with them. Even hills are kind of spotty to find. It's
I think it's
building corners.
I think it's just it's the idea of, because if you're playing, say, like a mass battle fantasy game, the trees just get in the way then at that point. So
slow the game down.
Yeah. And then the way around that is to have trees that you can push aside.
Yeah.
But then now you have to store those trees, and those get lost, or they're just loose and kind of things like that. So I think with the advent of these new trees that the space trees that Mantic is coming out with, I think that'll be a little bit easier because they're all one piece and they're all plastic. So they won't take any damage when you move them around or drop them.
Yeah.
And you won't lose any flocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't wait for that to come out, because I'm going to try and replace my regular trees with alien, because most of the time I'm playing space
doesn't matter
sci-fi games anyways. I rarely play any fantasy games anymore, so I don't need real trees.
Yeah.
And with that release too, they're doing kind of neoprene, at least I think it's neoprene, like you're saying, like little space zones for like, this is a forest.
Yeah, especially Kings of War, that's really important, because you want to put you want to move the trees out of the way and have it represented.
Yeah.
And know
where the edge of the forest is.
Because you're on a base, so you have to be able to put that base in the trees. So
yeah.
I like the way Firefight does stuff. It's where you just put the leader there, and your whole group's considered with it.
Lock them up.
Yeah. Or even take them off the board. If the leader on that building, he's in that building. All the guys are with him in that building. Like I love how they do that way.
And makes it move fast.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the last one that I haven't gotten the chance to play in a setup like this, but I'm fascinated by the idea. And this is again kind of a Dead Zone centric one, which is that you're playing on some kind of like elevated space where there's areas that are just danger zones. In this case, like
You kind
you're
of
on
did
an
something
oil
like that
rig or
before.
something like with water
Yeah.
or something like that.
You
That you
built a
could get
board like
knocked
that.
off.
Yeah.
Tyler Schultz, I think, did.
Oh, is that who did it? Yeah.
Yeah, he did it. I was trying, like I started a project
You
to
use
do
it
it,
like
and
posts or something to put it up higher. Yeah.
yeah, and I'd done the math on like how many parts I was gonna need from
Oh yeah.
this like kit, and I was just like, oh man, it's like 86 posts.
But I
And,
bet now with who's the 3D printer who does those does the Dead Zone like terrain?
well, this was Corvus Games
Yeah.
terrain
So
isolation protocols
do they
set.
have posts and stuff like that where you could just print it whatever you needed? That's a lot easier. Like that.
Yeah, he
Instead of just
yeah
buying
he did have
specific kits
those.
for it. Yeah.
And but yeah, so it was like it was going to be a pretty big endeavor to print all that and then obviously storing it somewhere.
Yeah.
But I do like that idea where again you really have to pay attention. Like there's a level of danger associated with the terrain, and I like it like in animes and video games where say you're having a mech fight on top of like aircraft carriers or something
Yeah,
like
that kind
that,
of
and you're
stuff,
having to
yeah.
jump between them. Like something like that, I think would be really fun to have in the tabletop setting too. Some kind of weird leapfrog battleship style game.
Destructible terrain where it's just falling around
Feels
out from
terrain.
underneath you.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That
Yeah.
new Worms game, I think, is supposed to have something like that. So
Wow.
maybe we adapt that into Battletech.
I don't think it's quite 3D, but it's I'm sure somebody will do a 3D version of it where it's like
Yeah,
instead of just doing the like it's more of a board game, right? So it's just gonna have hexes.
Right.
But imagine doing like you could do it on higher versions of that. That'd be fun. That's the expansion, I'm sure.
yeah. So what's kind of your last one, Rob?
Pat touched on it, but it's definitely City Tech from Battletech. That was my first introduction to Battletech, actually. That's the first box set I bought, because that was the one that was available. So, fighting in cities, in mechs, has always been kind of my first love. And I know even the Harebrained Schemes fighting in cities was added on later, and it's pretty fun when you just can't, sit at distance and shoot at each other. You got to fight your way around buildings and sneak up on people, and having objectives or lower buildings or higher buildings. Another thing that Harebrained Schemes did fun was, and actual battle, it's in Battletech too. When you jump on a building, it might collapse underneath you. If it gets shot out from under you or you're too heavy, it'll just collapse, so you can hurt yourself that way. And yeah, the idea of multiple levels and all that cover, plus like all the different objectives or anything you can put in a city board would be pretty fun. Like, and once again, destructible. Like that's, you can take down buildings. That's half the fun of City Tech. So
Yeah.
yeah. So there's
cool.
an enemy on the other side of the building. I could go around it, or I could just blow it up, and then I'll see him.
Shoot him through the building.
That's right.
How about you, Pat? What's kind of your last one?
Well, it's one that I've been messing around with for a while. We just can't kind of fine tune it. And it's pretty much, it's basically underwater.
It's always hard, yeah.
Okay.
Where we usually lose it is lasers. And
G.I.
missiles.
Joe shot lasers underwater.
Yeah, but Channing Tatum can do no wrong.
And no, how dare you? And missiles underwater are called torpedoes.
That's what I'm saying. So how do you handle that? Because in the game, they're instantaneous hits. So do you wait a couple rounds and then?
Well, yeah.
Then what do you do when the mech moves in those couple rounds? Do you lose a little bit for movement?
Tracking.
Because none of those are addressed in any of the video games.
No, you don't have many underwater.
Because it's turn-based in the Battletech one. No, but I'm just saying with missiles. I'm trying to remember what happens in Mech 5 when you're running. I think the missiles just hit you anyways.
No, you can dodge missiles. It's just
I know in oh gosh, what was Gundam Battle Operations? What the one that was kind of like a Universal Century themed one, like the underwater levels were terrible.
Yeah.
Uh, but like they were torpedoes and they had to travel a distance.
Yeah.
Like, and I think too, like that's a neat space to add to the mechanics of
Yeah,
shooting
because
at targets.
there's so much you can do. I mean,
And,
you're gonna move slower,
mhm.
so
Yeah,
I mean,
you
well,
just kind of maybe set
I
a
mean,
distance.
I'm no physicist, so I don't know how water affects laser.
Well, we don't have lasers, so they can affect him anyways. Like not that.
Well, I
kind
mean,
of
we
laser.
do have lasers, but we
Not
don't
that
have
kind of laser.
we don't have
Not-
weaponized lasers.
Yeah, that's right.
But I would assume it would
For
be,
underwater.
it would
It
work.
would reduce the ranges. I would assume it would.
We just use them on drones right now.
But look at even bullets. Like you shoot a bullet into water, it stops within 4 feet. Like it's like ballistic weapons underwater are almost useless.
Yeah. So what do you do with your autocannons and your
They just
your
wouldn't work, I
PPCs?
assume.
You
Well,
just put little
PPCs are
screws on the back of them.
PPCs are charged plasma, so I assume it would just shoot
Yeah.
through the water and boil it as it went. So I think PPCs would still work.
Well, I mean, it's plasma, so it generates heat. So there's the water. As it boils the water out, does it cool itself off and do less damage the further it goes?
When it's that hot,
So there's
I don't know if it does.
so this is the thing that we talk about when we say we should try to play an underwater battle, and then we say
Gundam has
I mean,
a few underwater battles, right?
the easiest way would just ignore all the physics of being underwater and
That defeats
just do
the purpose
movement.
of doing underwater then. Like
I mean,
might as
and
well
just do
space it
movement.
then. But that'd be space
At
at
one-
that point, right?
Yeah, at one point we just said let's just do movement.
Um,
But I'm sure someone is out there
Yeah.
who listens to
Well.
this show has actually worked all this stuff out.
There's a game called Deep Wars. It's more of a skirmish game, but it's all underwater, and I'm not sure. I remember people who've done the demo said it was boring as hell, and actually it's a joke to fall asleep to the words of Deep Wars. But I can see how the 3D part would be neat because you can go up and down, and because you could
Yes.
float up or whatever. But
Mhm.
I don't think it works much in Battletech. I think it would work a lot more in like a Gundam game or somewhere where you're a lot more maneuverable. I think Battletech mechs pretty much sink to the bottom, and that's it. Like unless you have jump jets.
Well,
Yeah.
but you can definitely jump jet and then stay afloat a lot longer than you would in air.
Yeah, but those things are weigh a lot of poundage. They don't float. You know. So,
Yeah,
No.
but again, you don't float, but you're also not falling at terminal velocity in water either.
well, those things I think
True.
it's pretty fast. But yeah, or even
It's
Dead
definitely
Zone
a neat
underwater.
idea.
Even Dead Zone underwater might be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
It's the rules would be interesting. Once again, you just strap your fish and you put lasers on them. That's how you figure it out.
So
Yeah, it's those kind of things. It's even harder than space underwater, I would think, to actually
Yeah.
figure it out.
'Cause
So,
you'd be
if
adding restrictions as
you
opposed
do have
to...
a rule set out there, anyone who listens to the show, if you do have a rule set, feel free, and you don't mind sharing, feel free to post it up because I would definitely love to see what you got.
Yeah, absolutely. And if folks have any other like kind of favorite terrain and scenarios and battlefields they like to have, maybe something really creative that you came up with as like, oh, we fought on a bridge across a chasm, something kind of crazy like that.
Tunnels or ice or things like that.
Yep.
Interiors.
Yes, inside fighting inside a building would be pretty neat for a giant mech game.
Wow, for Dead
big
Zone,
building.
some of my favorite Dead Zone games were always inside buildings, but that wasn't with mechs. That's just with the regular guys. But
Yeah,
you'd have to have a big
but with
building
that-
to have mechs fighting inside.
true. But with that, I think we're gonna head out to the ExFil and wrap up the episode.
Sounds good.
Let's exfil out of here.
Well, now I've got saliva stuck in my head, which is a weird thing to say out loud out of context. Welcome to the ExFil, everybody. Thank you for checking out the episode. Please give us a like and subscribe. On YouTube is kind of our main space, but we are still on Podbean for at least a little while yet.
At least another year.
Yeah,
At least
unfortunately.
another year. But yeah, so feel free to reach out to us if you have any fun ideas or heard about new shows or games coming out. We're always interested in hearing about new stuff in this area, especially things that people might not have heard about, and kind of spreading the word for. But yeah, so with that, I guess I've been Brian.
And I've been Chopper.
Quick in out. Brian doesn't believe in saying anything. Like, share, and
Nope.
subscribe. How about that?
He did say
I
that.
did say that.
You didn't say it enough. I've been Rob.
Have a nice night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
This has been Mobile Armor Radio. Join our Facebook group by searching for Mobile Armor Radio. Find us on Twitter @MArmorRadio. Join us on the first of every month for more mecha discussion.